Welcome to the Life Coaching with Ryan podcast, episode 3. Hello, once again, Piopolis of Earth. Episode 3 continues my conversation with Jenny. We're going to be transitioning from self-talk to mantras. And as we wrap up my first ever podcast interview, I just want to say thank you for joining me on the journey and more to come. So I'm conscious that you have a limited time, and I want to talk to you forever. So let's transition to mantras, and we can always cut back in more talk about self-talk and labels and all that stuff. But I want to talk about mantras. So for me, the way I was distinguishing labels, self-talk, and mantras is that labels are inherited, and to some degree, we will create our own.
Yeah.
I think you said something before we started the video, which was, maybe it was right when we first started it. Yes, it's when we first started, you were talking about what a good mom is, what a good girl is. You can translate things.
Yes.
But I think there's certain tropes, there's certain archetypes, there's certain things that we've inherited about with these labels. So I think that there's what we inherit, there's the labels that we inherit and eventually construct. Then I think that of self-talk as kind of labels on a loop.
Yes.
It's kind of the internalization of those labels.
Yeah.
These prescriptions of how we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to live or how we're supposed to talk, walk, dress, have sex, whatever. And then to me, a mantra is consciously programmed self-talk.
Yeah.
So there's mantras in the sense of a meditation mantra, which I have some that I enjoy, and then there's mantras that are programmed moments, like you saying, I have a mantra, would I say this to my daughter?
Yes.
One of my favorite mantras is, I'll figure this out, I always do.
Yes.
That's one that a little over a year ago, I just spontaneously started uttering to myself. There was some weird circumstance and I decided I want to have fun with it. And the expression of that was the figure out you always do. Oh, I'm totally lost in a neighborhood I don't know. I'll figure it out, I always do. There's not been a single circumstance in my life where I died being lost.
Figured it out.
Because I'm here, aren't I?
Right.
I always figured it out.
You always figure it out.
And so that's one of my, that's become one of my favorite mantras. It's this kind of spontaneous utterance. So this is why I have notes. I think that a good mantra, like an effective mantra, is one that conversely brings someone to clarity and presence in the moment. So there's a conscious component to it. But I think part of what's great about a mantra is it becomes a mindless thought in the sense that it ceases to be a matter of will, mind, force. It's not a thing where you're forcing yourself in that moment to say it or do it. Instead, it's like it integrates into your being, like your state of being. What do you think about that?
Yeah. It's interesting. I have an interesting relationship to mantras. I don't practice them. Like, I don't have a consistent one. And it's interesting as a yoga teacher. I feel like I should.
I have a yoga one that I was going to bring up in a minute.
Yeah, I think that part of my training, I don't know why. It's interesting.
Doesn't
yeah. Yeah. I think for the most part, my moral mantra that probably have had since I was a child is, what can I learn from this? It's sort of how I feel like I always subconsciously take moments, even though that they're really hard. Like, what can I learn from this? What is this showing me? But I remember through a lot of very, very hard times in my life, the one thing that got me, especially when my parents died, was, this too will pass. This will pass. Like,
we talked about that.
Yeah, this moment, this will pass, and it's okay. Like, there was something comforting about, being in that pain, but knowing that it will pass, and it does.
Yeah.
So I liked it because it gave me permission to be in it, but I also felt this comfort of a hug, where it's like, okay, this will pass, this will pass, so that I could have both feelings. I
think that's critical. And again, I don't know if this was before I hit record or after I hit record. Being able to simultaneously hold space.
Yes.
Right? You weren't saying this too shall pass as a way to push away.
Correct.
The resistance and grasping idea I was talking about from the Toltec practice. It's not, I am repeating this to myself to make the pain go away. that would be resistance to that pain. It's not saying it to bring joy, which would be grasping. I need something I don't have.
Because I don't want to feel this.
It was, I'm going to feel this, and part of how I am going to make this tolerable, processable, being able to be present with it is to say, this too shall pass. So I can be with the pain, I can be with the discomfort, and still minimize it because I have trust, faith, belief, choose your poison.
Yes.
That I will be able to move through. So that's how it was for my depression.
Yes.
When I was just, the world was black and nothing was real. And I just quick self-check, presuming that I do have a body and this is real. Am I going to cause any harm to it? No, I am not suicidal. I'm not in that space. Okay. Next check. There isn't a next check. Oh God, what do I do? Nothing. Nothing. You literally do nothing. Right. And then just accept. I will hold on to the belief that I learned from when everything felt real.
Yes.
I will borrow the belief that this too shall pass, that this is a matter of time that I can get out of. That was where I was. Other people, if you're depressed, get help immediately. Talk to someone. This is not advice. This is not advice. This is just, how could I be with what I was experiencing and still see that there was another possibility. Brooke talked about borrowing emotions and borrowing beliefs. You have to borrow from your future.
Yes.
So I kind of had to borrow the idea that, mom's a therapist, and what would mom tell me? Mom would tell me that depression passes, and if it's not passing, that's a different problem. And you need to address that. So it's like, okay, so this is how I'm going to be with this. And I'm going to be with this. And I'm going to stop being depressed because this too shall pass. It was, I'm depressed. And
yes, I think mantras can be, my dad was an alcoholic, and I remember having to go to these Children of Alcoholics meetings. And I was blown away by the mantra repeated, I am a child of an alcoholic. Hi, I'm Jenny, and I'm a child of an alcoholic. And that's just like, or even in AA, I'm an alcoholic, right? And I became really curious about that at a very young age because it didn't resonate with me. It wasn't my mantra. Does that make sense? Yeah. Even though that was my dad's choice. Right. I don't even know if my dad was an alcoholic. That's a whole other, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, either way, when we repeatedly say these things, it becomes ingrained in us. Yeah. And I remember completely resisting that as a child. And I think that's why I resist them to this day, because I don't want to convince myself of anything, nor do I want to subscribe to something simply because there's a situation in my life that, I am Jenny and I am going to live through divorce, or I am Jenny and divorce doesn't break me. It's like, you know what? Divorce might break me. Yeah. I don't know. It's just sort of like... Yeah.
So this is what I was saying earlier about affirmations that are lying to yourself. Yeah. An affirmation from a perspective of resistance and grasping is one that's denying where you are, denying how you feel, and trying to produce a result that frankly is not possible because it's not true for you. Right. It's like when people talk about The Secret and the law of attraction. Right. If I just repeat this to myself enough, it'll come to me. No. If you believe it enough, it'll come to you. And yes, affirmations are a way to change your belief, but not the way to change your belief. Yes. And if it's all you're relying on, you're not going to be very happy. It's not going to work out for you. It's like, I am thin. No, you're not. You look in the mirror and you're not thin. You don't believe yourself. You're creating cognitive dissonance. It's not very distorted. True. Yeah. And there's something that I think you translated a few affirmations in this book when you were talking about the difference between I'm thin and I love my body. What does it need? And maybe maybe your body needs to lose 10 pounds and that's okay. And maybe your body doesn't need to lose 10 pounds and it's perfect and you're healthy and it's wonderful. And having an affirmation that I'm thin is not only lying to yourself, but again, it's that self-editing and it's denying who you are and where you are. Yes. And that's how valuable is that? Right. How valuable is this right now? If the answer is it's not, maybe time to get rid of that. So for me, like my mantras, I have a self-talk mantra, which is the one I mentioned, which is I'll figure this out. I always do. Yes. There's a mantra that I learned from my Toltec teacher, which is fairly long, so I probably don't repeat the whole thing right now. But I think the beginning part that's valuable is I allow my higher self to think truth through me. I allow my higher self to feel divine connection through me. I allow my higher self to take right action through me. I allow my higher self to heal through me. But even if you just capture those 4 things, none of that is, I'm going to be different.
Right.
None of that is, I have to think a certain way.
I'm broken.
None of that
I
is, I have to feel it. None of that is identity based.
That's true.
It's how can I connect more deeply to myself in this moment, be present, and act from that presence. Yeah. And I think that's really highly valuable. And then the other one I have when I'm meditating is the Lam Vam Ram.
Oh, you go up the chakras?
Yeah. And for me, it doesn't matter, like, okay, woo-woo alert, that'll be another one. I think that all woo is ultimately has a basis in psychology, science, whatever else, and one day we'll be like, oh yeah, we understand all things, but that's a much longer, separate conversation. So I will slip into the woo and almost invariably explain from a Western psychological or scientific perspective why I think it's also true, but I may spare the long chat for this one and just go with, I feel centered. It's a way of reflecting on the presence of my body when I say it and I go through where traditionally the chakras are. I feel sensation there. I have bodily awareness there, and it's like putting this wonderful column of light through the center of my body that leads me to just be there in a way. And so I actually do that before I say any other mantras that are words in English that would be loops in my head, to bring myself to presence, right? You could do that 1,000 ways. Some people just say Om. Some people say Ah. Some people intone. Some people do a specific breathing pattern, or they focus on their breath.
Or they eat hot dogs.
Or they eat hot dogs. Vegetarian, so maybe a tofu dog.
That's what I love about mantras, though, and that's where I think it gets distorted, is people go, okay, now I'm taking yoga, and I have to do this, and I have to, and it's like, no, actually, you take what works, and then you create your own thing, and it could be eating hot dogs while you say Om. Like, I wouldn't judge it, but it's like, we forget.
I would, but I'd get over it.
You're like, I totally judge it.
I would.
Wait. But it's like, we forget that we are in charge of our own autonomy. We are in charge of our own growth.
Right.
And that's where the self-help industry has taught us that we're not.
Yes.
That we need their information to make us better. It's like, actually, no, you need their information to learn. Go, oh, does that work for me? And take and choose and then connect to you. It's always about that. So mantras are the same thing. You know, what works for you today?
There's group Access Consciousness, and every once in a while I listen to some of their materials, and they talk about making decisions for the next 10 seconds.
Yes.
While I am not a big fan of everything they do, please do not take it as an endorsement, because every once in a while it feels just a little bit culty. The core of it, right, it's you're familiar with CSE, Center for Spiritual Enlightenment in San Jose. They talk about the one truth known by many names, so take it from wherever you can get it. Take it from Jenny. Take it from Access.
Hot dogs.
Take it from hot dogs.
I don't know why hot dogs is in this.
I
think I might want a hot dog.
Do you want a hot dog? I'll have to make sure you get a hot dog then. Of course, eating a hot dog right before you teach a yoga class probably isn't
That'll
fantastic.
be awesome.
Yeah, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have eaten that hot dog.
Namaste.
The divinity in me bows, the divinity in you
hot
bows.
I saw this shirt. It said Namaste in bed. Oh, sorry, I got off topic. I kind of want that. The other one was Nama Cray Cray. The crazy in me honors the crazy in you. Kind of want that
Nama
too.
Cray Cray.
That's my humor.
That is no.
Namaste in bed. I like it. Okay, sorry.
I think
talk about a mantra. That's a good mantra.
That's a good mantra.
I like that.
See, there you go.
I kind of into. I'm into the segue.
You did. It was beautiful. Yeah. Oh my god. So, like, to kind of wrap, because I want to have some time to geek out with you before you're forced to leave, and I want to be able to hit stop and still be stupid for a little bit, because we don't get to see each other at all anymore.
No, we don't.
Which is terrible. It's terrible. And you're so busy doing all these wonderful, amazing things in your life. But are there any other mantras or self-talk or, like, from a wrapping up perspective, it's like, how can we take these concepts of labels, self-talk, and mantras, and if someone wanted to take something away and apply it right away, what thoughts do you have?
I mean, it's very Byron Katie, and I don't mean it to be, but
Go steal from everyone.
I mean, is it true?
Is it true?
Even when I hear feedback from somebody and I hear it, I'm like, okay, does that feel true?
Yeah.
That's more of a sense. Does that feel true? Mm-hmm. And true is, a layered word, but
Sure.
But you know it. You know in your body. So, does that feel true? Would I talk to my daughter that way?
I think even just in what you said, becoming aware of your body, because most people they
Right.
visualize thoughts as being in the head.
Right.
And so much of my life, I'm a very bodily person. So
Sure.
when you say feel it in your body, I'm like, well, duh. But for the person that doesn't
You're right, not a
feel
lot of
presence
people do.
in their body, sometimes it's noticing, even just noticing your
Yes.
body in that moment, going, oh, I feel a pain in my chest, or oh, my stomach is churning, or why does my ankle hurt, or whatever it happens
Yeah.
to be. That even just becoming aware of that can sometimes be transformative.
Yes. And also asking your children, if you have children or younger people, where do you feel that?
Yeah.
So you want to
So
keep
develop
that
awareness.
fluidity, because the body is so highly knows before the body knows everything. It just does. It knows before we're like, oh wait,
The brain is part of the body. It's just a different
True.
organ doing
True,
a different
but
job. So you got to be aware of the sensations.
all of it.
Yeah. It's when people feel anger, why is it that almost universally they clench their jaw? And this is all humans. So again, this isn't just woo-woo.
No, it's
there is
true.
literal physiology
Yes.
that is occurring.
Where it
Maybe it's
occurs.
because you're clenching your jaw because there's a risk of getting punched in the face, and that's the way to protect your brain bucket, is by clenching your jaw. But we do it.
Yes.
There's a reason we grind our teeth in our
Yes.
sleep when we're anxious. Like all of these things are natural and inherent to the human body and our physiology. We're just applying it
Yes.
in this different way. So being aware, I'm just waiting for Kitty to smack the mic. Being aware of just again being present. I think that asking questions, to your point, is this true? How valuable is this thought?
Yes.
I think those start to break down the self-talk barrier.
Yes.
To allow new messages. I talk about consciously programming yourself,
Yes.
right? If self-talk is a program, well, if that's too computerized, then it's a loop. It's hitting, repeat on a track and just having it loop through your head, and whatever your image is, whatever your visualization is. So asking questions stops the world.
Yes.
It stops the loop, and then you have that opportunity to reflect.
And discover, you get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point? I don't know.
I mean,
Not
I
the
think
self that
so.
people tell you that you are, but the
Right.
self.
Right.
That's how you get to play.
Which is play advocate,
Play.
right? So that's certainly, I think that there is inherent value to humor in self-discovery.
Yes.
There's humor that deflects self-discovery. I am uncomfortable right now, so I'm going to make a joke to distance myself from my feelings. And then there's humor like, isn't it hilarious that I just called myself a sack of shit in my head? I mean, that's total bullshit. It's not even true. I'm not a sack of shit. I mean, obviously I'm a human, duh. But also, there's probably some valuable parts of me. I just need to find them, right? There's...
Play is essential.
Yeah.
It's essential. Some of my students, when they talk self-deprecating, they're third graders, they have to do the chicken dance. So when they stand up and they're doing this, I'm like, they must have said something bad. Why? Because it changed the moment and they're becoming aware. And it's physical and it's playful, and for some of them, it really, really works.
Yeah,
it really works.
Physicalize.
Oh, I just said I was bad, and then they're like, and everyone's like, oh, you just talked badly about yourself, and they're like laughing because they're doing the chicken dance. So it's like moments like that we just want to continue to be aware of how we're communicating, but you can play with it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all serious.
Is it serious?
It's all serious.
I know you as big, so serious. This is like normal conversation, only more spastic. This is like mildly controlled and on topic.
We were so on topic.
I'm actually really impressed. High five. I need a high five for that. Seriously, I went into this going, I'm going to have an outline, and fuck it, I know that like 5 minutes in, we're going to be so far in left field. It helps that it's a topic that's really important to both of us.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, if it was
notes.
And notes. How to get back on topic, knowing that there's a time limit. Because if I could keep you for 3 hours, I'd be like, fuck it, we got 3 hours. We don't have the storage on for the video, but we got storage for the audio. I got 5 hours on that thing. Let's just keep going. Wow. But I'm so grateful.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so grateful to have gotten to hang out and have this conversation. And what's the title of your new book? Does it have a title yet?
It doesn't. It's a work in progress.
Ooh.
That should be the title.
Actually, considering the topic, it's probably the perfect title.
That's really funny. Yeah, it's all edited. I just don't have a title.
I was there when she came up with the title for her book. I am a work in progress. Work in progress. So how to da 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 da.
Wow, that's actually really good. Oh, okay. We'll see.
You heard it first, folks. Actually, by the time I edit this and actually get it out to the world, your book might be out already, which would be fabulous. Well,
it would be
fabulous. Well, one way or the other, you look up Jenny Ward everywhere. Unfortunately, the book is out of print, so you have to hunt it down, which I did.
Hunt it down
if you want to read a 14-year-old book about where you were in your life 14 years ago.
It's so weird because I'm 21, you know? Like,
How
I wrote a book
that. 7?
It's like, wow.
That's so impressive. You were just that good. You're just that good.
It's so weird.
You're so good. Oh my god. Anyway, thank you for agreeing to do this. I'm so happy, and thank you everyone who's watching for watching and leaving comments and doing all those sorts of things, and whether it's likes and subscribes or reviews on platforms for podcasting or whatever the hell it is you people do. Thanks.
Thank you.
And here's a little preview of what's coming up next week. I think very, very often there's this tendency to cover up your internal, real, true thought. And if you really believe in The Secret, if you really believe in attracting things to yourself, then the thought that you're denying is the thought that's acting in your world. Just consider that for a minute. Like the show? Consider subscribing through my Patreon at patreon.com/lifecoachingwithryan. You'll get early access to shows and potentially a host of other rewards. Want more? You can also find me streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/lifecoachingwithryan, where I play some games and I continue the conversation. I'm pretty active on Instagram. You can find me at instagram.com/educate4, the number 4_life. That's where I do my book club. I record the book club episodes live on Mondays, and then I post them to IGTV. Later, I post them on YouTube. See you next time.